Welcome back. Talking about Decision 2024 with political strategist Joel Sawyer. Antoine Seawright joining us via Zoom from the nation's capital. Antoine, I'm going to start back with you. The president's going to address the nation tomorrow night. Since announcing he will not run for re-election, what do you expect we will hear?
Well, I expect to hear from the president his, I wouldn't say final address, but his way of transitioning the presidency as a candidate, if you will, to Vice President Harris, but also thanking the country, thanking those who have served with him, and also continue to lay the case for what the future of this country looks like. No longer can Republicans talk about him being the oldest candidate running for office. That's now Donald Trump. When we talk about mental acuity, we have to think about former President Trump. When we think about cognitive tests and all those things, all those conversations that folks were having in the ecosystem now turn towards the Republican candidate, Donald Trump. And so look for the president to say he's going to continue doing his job for the next 5 or 6 months, while ushering in a new generation of leadership, but also laying out the challenges we still face ahead, no matter what is going on politically. But also, Judy, reminding us where we were and what he was able to accomplish in 4 years, which many presidents have not done in 8 years.
And Joel, from the Republican side, I read an article today, and I was going to ask you before we went on air if it was true or not. Are Republicans suing to try and keep him on the ballot? I know that there's some conversation about trying to force him out, but is that where they need to be spending their energy with, what, 104, 105 days until the election?
No, because that lawsuit is going straight in the trash can if they file it. The parties can nominate a candidate any way they choose to. If they want to hold a dance off, they can do that. If they want to, take shots and see who falls off the chair first, they can do that. So if a party gets together and their delegates say this is our nominee, then that's their nominee. The reality is that primary votes in a presidential preference primary are just that. They are expressing the preference of the voters in that state, but the party is only bound to follow those wishes only so much as the party rules force them to. If your candidate backs out, as Joe Biden did in this case, the party's free to nominate a candidate however they want to.
And so before we wrap up, we got so much to talk about, so obviously we'll have you guys back continuously leading up to Election Day. Antoine, the decision for the Secret Service director to resign, I mean, what hope do we take from that decision, really pressure coming from both sides of the aisle?
It was definitely the right thing to do. I don't think there was a scenario in which she could have answered enough questions to come to some sort of conclusion of why the events happened the way they have. But it does not answer the question of how it happened. I still think there's certainly a role that an investigation role that has to be played so we do not repeat those mistakes again. I don't care who the president or former president is or was or whatever entity Secret Service's protection. We should not have to wrestle with those kind of scenarios in the United States of America, and party affiliation does not matter.
Joel, a lot of people were encouraged to see pressure from both sides of the aisle. I mean, ranging from Alexandria Ocasio to Nancy Mace and Jamie Raskin, for them all to agree on anything. What should we be looking for on the campaign trail? I mean, this has shifted things. We'll talk about a dynamic shift. This has shifted things dramatically. So what should we be looking for as the debates come up and as we approach Election Day?
From the Secret Service standpoint?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think that, you're going to have to be much more safe, wider perimeters, more magnetometers. You are going to have to, I don't know if there is such a thing as overdoing it on security, but as much as that is possible, you're going to have to put more people, more redundancies in place. And then as this investigation gets completed and you figure out what went wrong, how do we fix this in the future, then you can start, kind of honing in that operation to provide, whatever the appropriate amount of security is.
Yeah.
But I think for the time being, you're going to see a lot more than maybe even is necessarily needed. We're not going to see something like we saw a few weeks ago again anytime soon. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely. All right, guys, parting thoughts. We got about 15 seconds each. Antoine, what are you looking for on the campaign trail?
Oh, I think just the calm momentum to continue building, the unity within our party, but also the expansion of those who want to participate again in this election. I look for, we could potentially surpass 2008 enthusiasm and turnout, both not just in the Democratic Party, but around the country, because the stakes are so high. So look for people to tune in and glean in a little earlier than normal.
Joel?
I think you're going to see very quickly the Trump team sharpen their attacks on Kamala Harris and whoever she picks for the VP. When this happened, it was very scattershot. They're throwing just anything they can think of at her. And so look for a tighter opposition narrative to emerge very, very soon.
All right. Thank you both for your expert insight and analysis. We'll keep an eye out on the Veep stakes and have you guys back to weigh in on that as well. Safe travels, Antoine. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.